Alright, hello and what is up everybody? Welcome back to another cast, and we got the Kiev Major NA Qualifiers playoffs going on right now. This is the first round with Team Freedom playing Team NP. On the other side of the bracket we got Complexity up against Onyx. Winner of this makes it to the finals, but because NA only has one slot for Kiev Major, they're going to have to play that double elimination, play a game after that as well against the finisher of the losers bracket, and that will decide who makes it through to Kiev, if that made any sense. But enough of that, let's get right into the draft. And I'm liking what NP have right here. They have, once again, the Abaddon-Io combination coming out in the first phase. Seeing Team NP run Io a lot more here. Something that they really haven't done in the past or focused on. They tend to go for other type of strategies, but as of recently I've seen them pick up IO multiple times now, and it is a threat because a lot of teams don't really see them as an IO team, but they're gonna get it here partially as a deny pick as well to Jubei, because Team Freedom do like to run his IO quite a bit. As for the bans, nothing really out of the ordinary here except for this Legion ban coming out from Team NP. It is kind of a go-to pick for Team Freedom for BSJ, where they kind of run like this aggro dual lane setup. BSJ was talking about that a lot with the onset of the patch and how strong Legion offlane carry could be with the new shrine and just how the lane works. And I see NP just a bit worried about that hero. No real reason for it because their draft can handle Legion just okay, but just taking that away for Freedom. But instead they're going to take the Silencer as well as Warlock. Most likely both supports here. I've seen Eagle play Silencer a bit now, and Warlock is probably going to be picked up by Jubei. At some time, I think they actually started running a Silencer mid for Tomato, but that doesn't look like what's going to happen here. I mean, it's still possible because this is most likely a BSJ Juggernaut, and Magnus can be played off lane or mid. And I actually haven't seen Tomato play Magnus at all. I mean, he probably has. I just haven't had the chance to see him and catch the game or whatever. But we'll see. Because IX Mike, I don't think I've seen him play Magnus either. So the last pick here from Freedom most likely being a IX Mike hero, while the last pick for NP will be a Spirit Breaker. And interesting enough, Team NP actually last banning out the Troll Warlord here, predicting that it might be a Tomato Juggernaut mid and a BSJ Troll, a hero that, I mean, I think BSJ values a bit highly in this patch, at least more than other teams. NP themselves also have been running Troll, so in the NA scene, the Troll has been gaining popularity. Team Faceless actually ran it yesterday and used it for qualifying to Kiev. They've already locked their spot in, and the other two SEA teams will have to play it out. Both, I believe, Mineski and Clutch Gamers.
To go.
But last pick coming out from Freedom will be an Ogre Magi, so looks like a Silencer mid coming out from Tomato, I called it. And IX Mike Magnus, it seems BSJ Jug, and the support duo will be the Warlock and Ogre. And with a Ogre helping him mid, I think Silencer can really dominate this lane against Alk. But the thing is, Envy doesn't really lane past the 5-minute mark. We're going to see it in this game where after the 5 minutes, he's gone. He's out of there. He's in the jungle. And his team will just kind of provide that protective barrier so he can farm up freely in the jungle. And every 2 minutes, he's going to be able to pick up both bounty runes. As you see, he goes to one bounty rune and then TPs to the shrine of the other one. And then picks up both, getting, I think, about as much as he would have from one bounty rune from the last patch, but of course it's guaranteed is the thing. In the last patch he kind of went to one rune and kind of hoped that it would be bounty and then the other rune would be grabbed up by the enemy team. But in this patch, because the bounty rune is in your jungle, you're going to be able to secure both with the correct warding and support movements to secure that.
Better get ready.
And the thing as well, IO can stack up for Envy, can do so pretty easily with even 1 point in Spirits level 1, stacking up the camps. And this is actually something that I played with MSS just a couple days ago. I think I mentioned this in my other cast, but we had the IO out going on. Aoi was on my team as well, and I mean, a lot of times, personally, I pick up some strategies from pubs, see something that's pretty cool, and I test it out. And if it works, I run with it. And it seems like NP do have something going on right now with this IO pickup for Rose, and they pick up the Alchemist as well. It's also something that Jubei has done in a Battle Cup, I believe, with Kiwo, and they probably discussed it and realized the values of it. And if we look at the starting build here from Rose, he'll be going for Iron Talon for a jungle start for the IO. His lanes don't really need that much help. Ursa is pretty independent as a laner, doesn't really need help to dominate his lane, zone out IX Mike, who looks like he is just going to go straight to the jungle, or set up to go straight to the jungle here, not wanting to lane against an Ursa and Spirit Breaker level 1. SVG going to take the hit in terms of buying the support items, taking out both wards, because IO did have to get the Iron Talon as well as Clarity's up, so he can get a pretty efficient jungle going. But because he is jungling early here, there won't be any early stacks for the Alk, so there's probably not going to be a setup of like 3 or 2 stacks for the Alk once it comes time for him to jungle, but it's going to allow the IO to be a lot stronger and start to play as pretty much a lane dominator. Once he gets that level 4, level 5 up, IO goes to any lane and he can just smack you in the face with orbs, and they hurt a lot, trust me. As for MSS, he will be starting in the off lane with the Abaddon. SVG probably going to roam, leaving his lanes pretty much solo for now. Nice ward here from Freedom will spot out any type of rotations coming into their safe lane, which is pretty important because Jug, even though he is a relatively strong laner, can just get zoned completely out by the Abaddon. Especially with the IR rotating in, he will have a rough time. See BSJ actually rotating to mid because of that. Interesting. We do not see BSJ play mid often, but they figured that mid is a lot more of a secure lane for him because their safe lane is probably going to be under assault at some point, and instead going to send Tomato there. And we saw a draft from Complexity where they had the Silencer safe lane. They sacrificed them. They didn't care. There was a lot of battling going back and forth. Silencer died a lot, but at the end of the day, he still got some of his levels up and was able to use his ultimate, which is what he is most useful for in these early parts of the game, until he starts to get those silence or int stacks up and becomes a right clicker. So Aoi will just be left completely alone in this bot lane. SVG just gonna maximize his experience right now, while Jubei, he knows what's up. He's like, alright, there's a jungle IO going on. I'm gonna place a ward here, scout out some movements onto the shrine, and try to mess with Rose to the best of my ability. As a IO player, he knows what's up. He can't let IO do this free, but it doesn't look like he can do much here as a solo Warlock. I mean, it's going to sap some of Rose's experience, send some auto attacks away, and this will actually slow him down quite significantly. But with the Spirit Breaker charging in, I'm going to assume they're going to be able to force Jubei out of here. He can't man up against both these heroes, but as I say that, the IO actually doesn't have any regen, so he's going to send him another auto attack and just TP out back to base. And that's going to slow down Rose a bit there, probably by like minute to 40 seconds in terms of his timing for his bottle, but not too big of a deal. Had to just halt his jungling for a bit there to deal with the Warlock, but since the Warlock had to leave, he's going to be able to jungle up, and this is a very good camp for him actually. Both these camps give 200 or above 200 experience, so he's going to get level 3 with these two camps, and he's not missing anything either. Going to pick up the Banner. I mean, he actually didn't use his Clarity, so this is a bit of a mistake unless he's planning on shrining. And he's actually not leveling 1 point in Tether. I mean, maybe he's saving it for overcharge in case he really needs it for something. But it doesn't really matter. He can just level up at any time. He doesn't really need that skill point for anything because he's still jungling at the moment. But he will have to go use a shrine now as he's really low. And I guess he realized that he probably needed to because his HP was low anyway. And he's going to shrine instead of using a Clarity. Actually going to pick up a TP scroll right now and maybe not finishing his bottle in the jungle. Oh, we see SVG actually get a kill in this bot lane with the charge onto Jubei. What is he doing down here? Trying to get some experience, but he gets punished for it. And instead, Rose actually going to rotate up to the top lane. His rotation will be scouted out by this ward here. And what is he actually doing here? Trying to get some stacks. Does succeed in this stack. Gonna try to farm it up now for his bottle. He's almost there. Usually he would have it right now, but that rotation coming in from Jubei did slow him down by a bit. MSS gonna just jungle with him as well. And I think after they clear these camps, they're gonna be ready to go to lane and probably contest the silencer a bit more than they have so far in this game. As for the mid lane, let's turn on the CS. BSJ, wouldn't be surprised if he has a nice CS lead, and he does against Eternal Envy. I mean, it's just Jug versus Alk. He's slightly favored in the lane, but not by too much. Envy gonna have his jungle freed up now, because Rose is no longer there. Getting 2 free creeps here, set up by Rose. Did start to jungle it up a bit, but decided to rotate out to regen his HP and go help MSS in the top lane. But MSS does have to regen himself, so he's just gonna walk back, use a shrine, I believe, before he actually goes to lane. While Jubei, or I keep calling him Jubei, expect Jubei in the IO, it's Rose. He doesn't play IO too often anymore, but I have to get used to it now. We'll pick up that banner and go to lane. When we see a charge onto BSJ, I mean, they're not killing him. He still has spin available, and that was their only lockdown. He's going to eat a super tango and continue to farm up in the mid lane. He's doing very well for himself, 30 and 6. Now Rose sitting down here trying to sap some experience and maybe even score some last hits with these orbs. This is that one. And will we get this one? He will not. Now Tomato goes in. He's like, alright, get out of here, little IO. Gonna send him some auto attacks. Charge coming in from SVG, but I'm sure this is gonna get cancelled. Ogre, only level 2 though. Ooh, level up the point and ignite now, trying to chase SVG away. The bottle is here with a IO, so he'll be just fine. And here we see the 5-minute mark has hit, and Envy has just rotated to the jungle. They're gonna leave the Abaddon in the mid lane to get some experience and farm. He's kind of hurting in farm, only 6 CS now, and he didn't have the best lane in this top lane. As I said, the Silencer Ogre lane was gonna be a pretty strong lane. I was expecting it in the mid lane, but they decided to run it top instead, so shutting down the Abaddon. As for the Alk, he's relatively gonna have free farm. That's gonna be a bit of an issue for Freedom, and as I say that, they're looking to deal with it right now as the smoke gang comes in from Tomato. I mean, BSJ. Mixing up the hero names here because of the switched up positions. Omni Slash comes through, but it won't find a kill. And they're going to take themselves away. They might even feed a kill away. Jubei going down, and that's just Abaddon being in the mid lane. Spirit Breaker able to come in at any time. I mean, Envy can farm here. You can go on him, but you're going to put yourself at a very risky position. And because they didn't get that kill off with the Omni Slash, they end up feeding a kill away to NP. The score is 2-0 now. SVG is going to go snag up the enemy banner. Nice gold and experience for him. He's going to hit level 4 because of that. IO in the meantime. We got the offlane IO level 5 already. About to hit level 6. This is very fast timing for relocate. And this is because Rose was pretty much able to play greedy. Team Freedom didn't apply too much pressure on the map, and they don't really have the heroes to do so because Eagle decided to just sit there in a safe lane to zone out the Abaddon. I mean, you can roam with the Warlock, but he's not going to make things happen. Unless you dual roam, you're not going to be able to punish this greedy IO play coming out, and he's already level 6 here. You're going to continue to farm up, stack up this camp, and get a very fast level 7. Compare that to IX Mike and compare their net worths, and IO's pretty much equal to the enemy offlaner. I mean, MSS is going to be a bit behind because he was able to get zoned out in lane and not play as greedy, because IO was taking up the farm actually when they were farming together here. But MSS will have the space now in the mid lane. Can't really lane against the Jug at this point, but we'll get some experience, and if the creep wave pushes under his tower, he's going to be able to get that. As for the Silencer, he's received pretty much free farm as well, which might be a bit worrying for NP at this point, but I feel like they're happy about how things are going. They just want Envy to farm it up, and He has his treads going into Midas. This is Envy's unique build. He goes for the treads and just wants that extra tank, even efficiency with the tread swap, having that extra mana available as well. Eagle looking to go in and probably snag up a bounty rune here. Does run into Rose on a bit of low HP, but he can't solo kill him at this point. Rose is level 6, while Eagle is only level 3. MSS looks like he's going to be farming up a Helm on the Dom in this mid lane, and with the creep wave pushing under the tower as well as level 6 up, he's going to feel a bit more confident as we see Rose run into Eagle now. He's going to be a bit peeved that his rune got jacked, but instead he's going to tether to MSS and snag up a Invis rune. A lot better for him, as that's going to give him 3 bottle charges instead of just 2. Envy able to continue to farm it up, and he actually didn't go for that bounty rune trick there. So he only went for the bot bounty. I think they already knew that the top one got snagged, so he didn't even bother. Io was trying to hold it down for him, but Eagle managed to sneak in there. But usually, if the Ogre didn't do that, you probably would have seen Envy TP top here to get both bounties. As we see the first rotation coming out from Aoi here onto Tomato, and they will find a kill very easily. Team Freedom were not expecting it, and with that relocate, they find an easy kill onto the silencer. SVG does get taken out as a return kill by BSJ, but I mean, I'm sure NP are going to be happy about that. They might get a kill here onto Eagle as well in the bot lane, but he manages to TP out just in time. Now Io on no HP as well as no bottle charges will TP back to base to regen up, and he can get to lane pretty quickly if Spirit Breaker charges out and then he tethers onto him. There's kind of like a leash range, and he can go relatively far with the Spirit Breaker before the tether breaks. But during all that action, it looks like MSS and Eternal Envy did focus down this mid tower quite a bit, taking it down to below half HP, while at the same time BSJ is doing the same in the top lane, and he will get this tower here. They're going to try to go in to defend, and as we see there, we see the Io tether onto the Spirit Breaker. Is going to be able to follow him through, and with level 6 on the Spirit Breaker, they're going to be able to shut down BSJ during his spin. The Warlock Golem will be dropped to try to save his buddy Brian Canavan here, but they're chasing him down. They're too fast with the Abaddon, and they will kill him regardless. And that was a very big win for NP there. They wasted Warlock Ultimate. They will get the kill on this one too. 100 gold going to MSS. Huge win there for NP, and this is going to put Team Freedom back really far. They need to get something done with that Warlock ultimate to slow the tempo, but to use just to try to save BSJ and not even save him, feeding the Golem away to MSS as well. He's going to have his Helm of the Dominator very soon, and they're going to just run down these towers while Alchemist just free farms. Rose ferrying the bottle to Aoi so he can refill it again, and they're going to fight top, straight top. SVG will end up going down. MSS has not skilled his ultimate yet. I believe he's saving his skill point, and he's ready to fight here. He's just kind of playing a bit cautious to not bait, but here we go. Aoi with the Blink Dagger going into Tomato, and can they finish off this kill? Io can't tether in for the orb damage, and they will finish him off to take out the healing ward as well. Abaddon is a pretty good hero to target that, and actually Envy going to decide to fight with the team. He has the armlet up, and he's like, yeah, I'm pretty strong, guys. Let's run them down. MSS needs to be able to catch up. He has the phase boost, and if he get that one hit onto Jube, it'll slow him down enough, and they're gonna go in. Aoi blinking in deep for this one, but BSJ will manage to spin away, but they're just getting run down. And this is an Alchemist mid pick. They're gonna relocate onto mid as well, and with the ultimate coming out from the Spirit Breaker, they're gonna kill IX Mike as well. That's a 4-man wipe across the map for NP, the only survivor being BSJ God. And he's going to leave MSS in the mid lane to push it in. The tower will fall. Aoi is here as well. It looks like top tower will survive for now as Tomato TP'd in to defend it, but Team Freedom will lose their mid, and they're going to go straight into Rosh, wasting no time. I mean, Aoi doesn't have any type of regen, but with the extra attack speed from the overcharge as well as the Curse of Avernus, this is going to be a pretty easy Rosh. MSS still not having a point in his ult yet, as he hasn't needed to. I think he is saving a point. Let me do the math. 4 plus 2 plus, yeah, he has 1 point saved up. And that's normally what you do with the Abaddon, is because the ult is popped at 400 HP. I mean, it would be popped right now, but because he didn't do that, or he didn't skill it up, he's going to be able to go to pretty low HP without having to use his ult, and if he actually runs into the risk of dying, he can just level it up and then use it. Or when you level it up, it immediately activates, but yeah. So that will be Aegis claimed for NP, and they're going to walk straight top. The rotation is going to be spotted out by this ward from Freedom, but it doesn't look like Freedom are ready to do anything. They're just farming up this 18 stacks right now, and their game plan right now is just to split the map with this Jug as well as Magnus. IX Mike really needs his blink, and he is kind of close to it. And BSJ has his Yasha up as well, flying out to him. They're going to be able to farm relatively quickly with this Empower and just try to avoid NP at this point in time. But the thing is, when they avoid NP and not try to fight, it's going to allow NP to farm up his Radiance at a pretty decent timing. He's played a lot more aggressively than an Alchemist normally would, so his Radiance timing is not going to be the fastest. He's also not going for a straight rush, going for the treads in the meantime, just to help farm up in the jungle a bit faster. And I think at the end of the day, you get it at the same rate regardless, with the treads and the Iron Talon helping him to farm a bit faster. And I would say he's going to have it around 15-16 minutes, and with Aoi building straight into the Desolator, this is going to be a lot of physical damage coming out from NP, and really no way for Freedom to tank up. There's no like early mech pickup for them or anything like that, and they're not that high in armor. At least the Jug is, but the rest of the team, I mean, I guess Ogre is as well, but most notably the Silent actually is a high agi gain. Alright, I mean, but he has 7 agi, but the Desolator will reduce that, so the Silencer has relatively high agi for in-ear. Actually, I forgot about that. Look at that. And I mean, it's not gonna matter against the Desolator. They're gonna get melted anyway. I mean, the only hero that can really survive that long against the Ursa will be the Jug, and even then, he'll be melted if they let those Fear Swipe stacks stack up. As we see now, Freedom want to get something done. They're gonna go for a smoke gank here onto Rose and Aoi. Now he blinking into the trees. Oops. I'm not sure if that was intended or not, but I mean, it does get away. I will go down eating that Omni Slash for 322 gold for BSJ, but I don't think that was the biggest 322 there, as BSJ does get farm, and he is very farm. Seeing him keep almost up there with the Alk. I'm gonna say if he dies once, this is gonna be very hard game for Freedom. He's barely above the Ursa at this point. Ursa does have his Desolator almost, and as I say, BSJ might die. Charge coming in, but not quite close enough to cancel that spin TP, and he will get back to safety. Jubei still has his rock available, and SVG meantime will be spot out by this Dire ward. Will he spot the D ward? I don't think so. And he's going to get himself out of danger right now, as Simato was running in, who was spotted out by this ward here. He had the nice stun creep with him as well, but the Hurl Boulder was on cooldown. Freedom still trying to farm it up. BSJ going straight into the Mantis style, as the Helm of the Dom will already be built onto Timato. And SVG playing the Spirit Break. This actually has level 9, which is pretty good for him. Trying to de-ward behind the tower here and prevent any type of setup for Freedom, as this is probably going to be the lane that they're going to hit next. MSS trying to push it out to the best of his ability using the Aphotic Shield, but he actually missed a ward as it was placed a bit further up over here, and his rotation also to be scouted out. As we see Aoi actually starting to work on this top tier 2. His Desolator is flying out as we speak, while the Alchemist has finished up his Radiance exactly at the timing I predicted, at the 16-minute mark. Rose building straight into a Ghost Scepter, but actually deciding to go into the mech instead. That's going to give his whole team armor, while the Ghost Scepter will only help him survive against the Jug. But even then, things like Fatal Bonds, the nukes out of the Silencer will still take him out, so he's deciding to give his team that extra survivability rather than just keeping himself alive. So, with the Desolator flying out for Aoi, he's going to be able to take out this tier 2 quite cleanly. Another charge going to come in onto Jubei, while Envy is just running straight in there with no fear. He's going to eat the whole Omni Slash and go down. That's an Envy play right there. Global Silence used as well. RP trying to be used onto the Aya, but then he realizes that I probably don't need to. They're going to focus him down now, but he will get the tether through. The Aegis expires onto Aoi, and the Aya will end up going down. They still have RP. They still have Rock. The only thing they used there was Global Silence. The RP will be used, but it won't hit MSS as well. Only hitting onto SVG. He gets the charge out, actually, and Envy goes in, or Aoi goes in, to be correct, and gets that kill onto the supports in the backline. Now the buyback coming in from Io, gonna keep Aoi alive, and it will. BSJ needs to get out here, and whoa, Aoi. He was a bit confused there. He was like, am I alive? What? I'm at a pretty decent HP, what? But they go in there, finish off BSJ, and they turn that what looked like to be a pretty awful fight into a 4-man wipe. Warlock ult did not have a chance to be used there, and that was the biggest play. The fact that Spirit Breaker wasn't focused out in time, he got his charge out, and that stunned through their entire team of Team Freedom. And with the Abaddon saving Spirit Breaker just enough so that he can get out, they were able to get that relocate coming in from Rose. And he did have to use buyback there, and Aoi almost went down. That was a close fight, but worked out for NP at the end of the day. Envy did go down there because he just kind of YOLO'd, and he's like, I can't die, guys, but he ended up dying, underestimating the damage that would come out of Omni Slash and an empowered Juggernaut. But I mean, NP should be relatively happy about how that went. Team Freedom gonna realize that, oh, they almost had that one, and they're probably gonna try again once RP comes off cooldown. They still have the rock to use, and you can't count them out. You saw how much damage that BSJ was able to dish out there, and Juggernaut and Magnus is no joke. NP picked up a gem for themselves, and they're just kind of running through the map right now to help de-ward. The gem will be on MSS. He's probably the hardest to kill at this point, as he is in Abaddon with a Sanj. Probably built into a Sanj and Yasha, maybe? I don't know. He has a Helmet Dom queued up. So they don't have one at this point in time. The headdress that I said would probably be built into the Helmet Dom would actually went into the Vlad's first. I definitely agree with that. They have the Ursa. I mean, if it doesn't help him too much, but in the fight it gives everyone that extra armor, which is the biggest deal. The lifesteal, maybe not so much, but the armor against the Juggernaut is a pretty big deal, as he's a heavy physical damage dealer. As we see in the bot lane, MSS gets attacked by the whole squad of Freedom. He will drop the gem. The Global Silence comes out as well, and the Omni Slash takes out Envy once again. Aoi comes in, will find the kill onto the supports, but the rest of his team is falling. Spirit Breaker's dead as well. The Courier dies as well with 5,000 net worth on it. Aoi and Rose, the only survivors, and that was a huge win for Team Freedom. As I said, with the ultimate, using the RP, using the Warlock Golem, they were able to find that kill. NP did not respond appropriately there, as the Abaddon got caught out, and they needed to save him with all they had, and they couldn't. Too much damage coming out of the Juggernaut. Got the kill onto Envy, and if we look at the net worth, that's going to be a pretty big swing. We don't see it quite yet, but I would say that would result in a 5,000 gold swing, I would say, especially if a tower falls. But it looks like because they did use all their resources there, mana and a lot of HP was lost as well, they are not going to be able to continue the push onto the tower, so this tier 1 bottom will still survive. As for Jubei, he's going to get a decent amount of gold from that fight, going from pretty poor to a bit less poor. But speaking of poor heroes, Spirit Breaker is pretty sad right now at the bottom of net worth chart. As for the Ogre, did he pick up an item from that? He actually is going into a Midas, and Freedom is just going to try to scale this game a bit later. With that Midas, he's going to be able to pick up those items later on the Ogre. I'm not sure what he's going to get. Alright, what a D-ward there. Usually I place the ward here, which would have caught this, but he was expecting that sometimes to a ward like this D-ward over here, you place a ward further to the left, and he ended up missing it. That's quite unfortunate, and they're going to be spotted out now by a ward. They might not realize it because they did place a sentry now, but they're going to walk out of the ward range right now. But NP did see them just group up there, and they probably know something is going on. Io gets a regen rune for himself with MSS. Actually, going to be building into a Sanj and Yasha, no halberd there. Well, Envy what actually died on the Courier, by the way. It was 5,000 gold. Was it? I think it was Envy's Manta. His like full Manta. It had to be. Oh no, he buys an ultimate orb here. So what was it? I actually don't know. I don't even know where it died. I just saw the notification pop up there. And IX Mike does have the gem on him, taken from NP, and didn't mention that before, but that fight not only got them a pretty much full team wipe except for Aoi and Rose, but they got, well, I mean, that's not a full team wipe, that's 3 heroes, but I mean, they killed 3 heroes and they got a gem for themselves as well. Now, Rosh is being scouted up by both teams. There's going to be Helm the Dom creep sitting in there right now, and nice creep as well with the Alpha. If they can keep that alive, that's going to be a lot of extra damage for BSJ, who's built into Diffusal now, so Ghost Scepter is no longer going to save NP. Io, it looks like he does have his mech, and he's gonna be able to call it out to himself once he gets the courier alive again. But the charge gonna come in, but nice RP onto Aoi and SVG, and Team Freedom gonna clean up 2 quick kills for them. And they're gonna drop a ward out as well, and this might just mean they get Rosh. Aoi dead for 50 seconds, no buyback. That mech will be completed by Rose, Eternal Envy, with the Boots of Travel on the courier. I mean, is that what was on the courier? Yeah, it was his Yasha pretty much, and his Boots of Travel. And Freedom will secure Rosh very quickly with that Alpha Wolf and power onto BSJ, and I think Team Freedom really figured out what they needed to do to win this game. They had a relatively rough early game, lost an Aegis to NP very early, about like 13 minutes in the game. 10 minutes even, around that time. I don't know the exact timing, but they were able to survive through that Aegis. Didn't lose too much map control because of it. BSJ was still able to farm up, and just a bit of bad movement coming out from NP. BSJ cleaned up. Envy playing a bit cocky with his haste rune, but speaking of plays, they find a top kill onto the Silencer Tomato with the relocate. Envy's still a big threat in this game. If you look at his net worth, I mean, he was missing 5,000 in that previous engagement where they probably just didn't want to fight. Aoi just got caught out with an RP, and they're like, alright, our courier is respawning in 50 seconds, guys, or like 30 seconds at that point. We don't want to fight. We're going to have to give them the Aegis. But now Envy gonna have his items. He has his Manta Style, he has his Boots of Travel, and he's going to be able to start splitting the map. In terms of ways to deal with him, they don't really have the best ways. I mean, Ogre is not going to like blink stun him. He's not like a Slaughter or anything, so he can farm relatively freely. What he really has to worry about is like the Jug coming out from an unseen angle and then catching him off guard, or the Magnus RPing him, of course, but that's an RP to try to take out Auk, and they might just do it at this point. So he does have to watch out for IX Mike, who does have a Shadow Blade as well. And in terms of counterplay to the relocate out, they have the Global Silence, so if they really need to, they can just use that to secure a kill. And at any point in time, I feel like Team Freedom can just dump their spells and get any kill they want, as long as they hit it. Well, NP kind of have to work around the map at this point in time. If you look at the overall net worth, it was eventually a 5,000 gold swing back in the favor of Freedom, but in terms of overall net worth, NP still have a relatively large lead, just because of how the early game went for them. And the thing they have for them is BSJ. I said that before, and it's really up to him to carry this game. And if he starts dying, they're going to have a very hard time trying to come back into this game. But as of right now, they definitely have the tempo in their favor with the Aegis onto BSJ. That's going to allow him to play a lot more aggressively. And with the Empower, he's going to be able to dump a lot of physical damage output out. And they have the Vlads to mitigate it. They're even building into armor items. We see the Lotus Orb coming out from MSS. That's going to help remove the Global Silence as well. Nice item pickup for him there. In terms of Aoi, we see him built into a Basher that's going to be able to lock down the Jug when he spins, and go into a BKB to make sure that he can get his Enrage off. Not being able to get it off because of the Global Silence is a very big deal. The Ogre, as well as the slows coming out from Ignite, and the Silencer is going to be a bit annoying for him as well, so BKB will help him there too. Looks like Team Freedom were able to just clean up this top tier 2 for free. NP do not want to fight right now against this Aegis Juggernaut. Warlock does have a Ghost Scepter for himself now. That's going to help him keep alive against the Ursa. But NP just splitting the map. They're actually smoked up right now, looking for a play because Envy has an Arcane Rune. He wants to do some battle here. He's going to pop his Manta to push out the lane. And they're maybe baiting the Shrine, but they're not too confident fighting on the active Shrine. So they might decide otherwise, but no, they're running in there, running into Tomato, but he's going to juke behind the tree line for now. He gets the force staff to the low ground, and he's going to be able to get away. Team Freedom, realizing where NP is, they're going to draw the line straight down mid, and they're like, alright, if they're bottom, not defending mid, BSJ going to get straight to work on it. The tower will fall incredibly quickly. He has a full Scotty up now, and he's very tanky. The Ursa's not going to have that easy of a time bursting through him anymore, especially with this Aegis up for another minute. Nice Yules into Skewer there for IX Mike, finding them a quick pickoff onto SVG, but they're going to have to get back to their base as MSS is just clicking down their tier 3, but IX Mike is here, and he can cancel the TP coming out from Abaddon, but Relocate actually going to be used to save MSS. Looks like Io will be dead to rights here unless he can time the TP perfectly. Can he do it? He's going to try it. Will he get it? Nope, he will not. That's pretty precise timing, and it's relatively hard to get off, and Io will end up going down. Nice try there. He actually ended up dying to creep, so the gold was split. Interesting. But that will save MSS, and he's going to be able to go straight down the mid lane and push it out. Envy already doing so top. BSJ's Aegis will finally expire now, going into his next item, which is a Boots of Travel. He realized that he really needs to be able to move around the map a lot faster because of the split push potential coming out from the Alchemist and even the Io. At any point he can do something like that where he can save a hero, splitting very aggressively. Abaddon's going to be able to split out lanes as well. I mean, Ursa doesn't farm that fast in terms of clearing her creep wave, but I mean, he's going to be a bit annoying himself and relatively hard to catch with the BKB now. You can always BKB and TP, and the only way to counter that is the RP. But bottom tier 2 will fall for NP, and they're still on the split push game right now, splitting the map, farming it to the best of their ability, not even looking for any type of pickoffs. They were looking for something here, and they realized that it was probably not a good idea to chase the silencer as he forced that to the low ground there, and they just backed off, pushing out their lanes. They did have to sacrifice all of their outer towers for this, but they're going to be able to hold for now, and of course, because of the change, Team Freedom are not going to be able to access their shrines until they take out a tier 3, which will be a lot bigger of a commitment, especially with the Aegis no longer onto BSJ. He has a DD rune for himself now, and he's going to be very scary. He's hitting super hard at this point in time, and he's only going to continue to scale, probably into a... I mean, he has Butterfly queued up, so I think BSJ realizes his job right here in this game is to just be this monster in this team fight with the Empower as well as the Bloodlust. I didn't mention that as well. He's hitting super fast, super hard, and has the cleave as well. And with the Butterfly, that's going to help him survive a lot better against the Ursa, even the Alchemist, and pretty much be an unkillable beast, especially if the Healing Ward stays alive in the fight. NP really have to keep their eyes on that. As for SVG, he's just building it to casual armor item. He's like, I need to try to live as long as I can, and if I don't have armor, I will not be able to. He's going to go on a warding mission right now, and he's going to get pretty decent wards up, setting up for the next Roshan play. Envy's still going to farm it up, and with the Shiva's Guard, that's going to help limit BSJ's damage output, but they really need to shut down this Jug in the fight, and they don't have the best ways to do so until this Abyssal comes out from the Ursa, and he's still quite ways away from it. Of course, SVG can lock down the Juggernaut, but not for long enough. I would say if he gets lucky with the bash, he can lock down BSJ for, I would say, 5 seconds or so, but that's not enough time for the Ursa to kill him at this point, especially once he gets this Butterfly. Silencer has a Rod of Atos picked up. I didn't mention that, but that's going to give Team Freedom a bit of extra lockdown, not having to commit their big cooldowns as the Ravage to catch a hero out of position. And it does prevent the Spirit Breaker from charging out. Overall, pretty decent stats for the Silencer as well, with the 2 Mystic Staffs and some extra tank. If you see Abaddon, he has his Lotus Orb complete. That's going to help him remove the global silence from himself or anyone else, and of course if he removes it from himself, he can use the Apodic Shield to remove it from a teammate, so it pretty much acts as a double global silence removal. And NP right around where Rush is gonna spawn, are gonna look for some type of aggressive play. They smoked in. I think they walked into the Rush, but they realized that it's not up, and are looking for a kill onto Freedom. If they can win a team fight right now by catching Freedom off guard, they will be able to secure this third Aegis for themselves, and that is Aegis and Cheese. Envy is pretty much 6 slotted now, and he's building into Ags, probably for the Ursa at first, and then Abaddon and Spirit Breaker. And then Io, of course, doesn't have Ags. And Io does have the Greaves. That's going to help his team stack up that armor against this Juggernaut. I think NP realized that Freedom is not in the area, and Freedom kind of realized that NP is doing something as well. They're going to position themselves over here, which is a lot safer positioning. They have this high ground to rely on, and I don't think NP really want to walk up on the high ground right now against a Magnus. If they eat an RP, they can easily be full 5-man wiped when the Fatal Bonds comes through and the Chaotic Offering gets dropped. Counter smoke coming out from Freedom now, and BSJ actually going to run into Envy, and it's a DD room. This is disastrous for Envy. The global sign is going to be used as well to make sure that no save comes off from either the Abaddon or the IO, and Envy will fall. MSS does get the TP out, but nice duels coming out from IX. Mike will cancel the TP from MSS, and they're going to get a secondary kill here. 2 kills for Team Freedom. They did have to use their ultimates, but as I said, they don't really care. Aegis is up once again, and with the Alpha Wolf scouting it out, they see it, and they're going to head straight in, and this is going to be another Aegis secured for Freedom. No buybacks from MSS. Envy does have a buyback, but does not want to use it at this point, and without the Abaddon, they can't really fight here. And look how fast this Rosh gets cleaned up. BSJ will secure the Aegis. And they're going to run straight down mid, it would seem. And now we pushing out the bot wave for a bit. But they're going to have a Jug knocking at their door. This is not good for NP at all. Their early game looked great, and a couple of missteps allowed Freedom to come back into the game full force, and now BSJ is a huge threat. He's going to clean up the tier 3 and probably the racks before they're able to respawn. Bye-bye racks for NP. Look at how fast Tomato's hitting now as well with the Bloodlust. Alright, this is insane. The Ogre providing so much utility for his team now with these 2 heavy right-clickers at this point in time, especially the Juggernaut. And this is the buff up the Jug game. 1 set of racks cleaned up, another set. Aoi finds a jump onto Jubei, we'll find the kill. Envy goes in, but will eat the solo RP along with his illusions. Now Tomato doing work. He'll just click down SVG. Bye-bye. The nice relocate coming from Rose will bring Envy to the high ground and to, I would say, a bit of a safer position. They're going to bash down BSJ, but they won't be able to kill him because of the evasion coming out from the Butterfly. He's getting away with the spin. The IO does relocate himself back out to safety. Oh, Envy wants to get this kill onto BSJ, but he's going to use his Omni Slash onto Envy. Envy is too tanky for this right now. He wants to kill the IO, but he's just going to spin TP away. No basher for Envy, and he's going to get out alive. They only lose their 2 supports there, and they get away scot-free pretty much after taking a 2 set of racks. Aoi ended up going down in the back there to what I believe was Tomato, even though I was following BSJ because he's kind of the focus of the fight. I mean, Aoi is the focus for NP. He's their real physical damage healer. Envy does a lot of burn damage with the Radiance as well as the Assist Ray, but you saw how much he was able to do there to BSJ, which is pretty much nothing. With this build, the Alchemist hits for kitten damage against the Jug at this point with about this is 30 armor, 30 something armor. Well, I can't do that. 36 armor and evasion as well. He has Diffusal 2 completed now, and he has room for another item. And what will that be? I wouldn't be surprised if he just picks up a Basher at this point. That's going to help him lock down heroes better. He'll some extra damage as well. But this game looks very hard for NP now. I'm not sure what they can do to come back in. I mean, they got the Ags up for Envy. Who's he going to give it to? Probably waiting for Aoi to respawn and giving it to him. That's going to allow him to use his ultimate while stunned up, which is pretty decent. Of course, lowers the cooldown as well. Is he going to give it to Abaddon here? Yeah, he said he's going to give it to MSS. That's going to help mitigate the damage coming out from Team Freedom if they get RP'd or something like that. Now, it might keep them alive, but it looks like Team Freedom not messing around. They have their ultimates up, and BSJ actually not spending his money on any new item. It's just banking on 5,000 right now, valuing this cheese instead. He's like, I'm strong enough. I just want the buyback with the travel TP in. Because they is one set of racks away, or 1.5 set of racks away from getting Mega Creeps. And I would say if they get that, the game is definitely over. NP, we see they had a big advantage at some point, but it was squandered in a couple of bad team fights. And now BSJ, a monster with the Solar Crest, popped onto him as well from Jubei. He's pretty much untouchable at this point. He's gonna take out the tier 3, come back for this racks, but they get a nice jump here onto IX Mike. The charge comes through, cancels his RP, and IX Mike is dead. No buyback available, no RP for this fight either. But look at Tomato, he's clicking like a monster, but he eats the Spirit Breaker ultimate, and NP are gonna miraculously be able to defend here. Envy almost went down as well, but the relocate saved him just in time. And wow, Team Freedom thought they could just end the game there, but one big play there from SVG, turning that fight around. Of course, I still think Team Freedom are in a very good position. It's going to be dependent on what NP can get off of this big team fight win. The Magnus doesn't have buyback, but the Super Creeps are pushing in, and Envy does have to deal with it. Rose is going to try to push out the mid lane. They have the gem on them once again. As for Ao, he has an Abyssal now, and that's going to help him lock down a target, maybe focus them down. This is a pretty big deal for NP at this point in time. And you can't count them out entirely, but BSJ looking almost unstoppable. He's going to have his completed Abyssal Blade now. Maybe not deciding to buy out for it quite yet, but he'll have it shortly, I would say. MSS looks like he's going to just be building into a Blade Mail. If he just tanks some cleave damage from the Jug, that's going to start boosting their damage output by a bit here against BSJ. I mean, not by too much, as he has pretty high armor, but every little thing counts, as we saw that charge in from SVG with the 3,700 net worth, 3,800 net worth Spirit Breaker, actually making a big difference in that fight. Very well timed charge from him, and saving the game for now. But even after that, I don't know what they can do to actually win the game. They have many ways to not lose, but how do they win is the question. Now, IX Mike has a refresher on him, and if they eat 2 RPs, they're dead for sure. And how do they avoid getting hit by RPs is the thing. The IO has to stay very far back, wait for the RPs to come out, and then relocate someone out. But even without the RPs, Envy almost went down there. He's just going to build into Heart just to tank up even more. And it's going to use that to replace his armlet. It looks like Team Freedom not going to wait for the next Aegis, which is respawning in like say 2 minutes or so. They're going to go straight down bottom. BSJ is completely 6 slotted. They got the Alpha Wolf as well, and they're like, alright, IX Mike, just hit your RP this time, please, buddy. And they're going to go straight to the high ground. BSJ in with no fear, starting to right click down the melee racks. He's actually going to be a bit spooked here as the Ursa actually comes in from behind. Very nice initiation from Team Freedom. They kill IX Mike again before he can RP, and that's no buyback on him. He can't come back. SVG gets his ultimate off onto Jubei as well. The golems are dropped, but the fight is breaking out. Aoi falling down very low, and he will get taken out. Envy still going through, and they can't fight BSJ. No RP required. They get the full 5-man wipe. Tomato is starting to be a monster at this point as well, with 28 ints stolen. The buybacks come out from the IO, the Ursa, as well as the Alchemist, but I don't think these 3 can stop BSJ at this point. Maybe they can. They have the Abyssal available as well. Tomato gets the Hurricane Pike onto IO, focuses him down now. Envy is in a very bad position. He does Manta style and get away for now, but I mean, Aoi's in the back. He's like, I can't fight, bro. Envy still tanking it up. He's so fat with his heart, and he's tanking a lot of damage. The evasion actually hurting the silencer as well as BSJ, and they hold. In the meantime, they did lose their top range racks, so this is the only set of racks left for NP. They had to use 2 buybacks there. The IO ended up diebacking, but they survive in this game for now. But as I said before, I can see how they survive, but how do they win? That is the question. I mean, I think their only play now is to somehow kill Team Freedom twice and then throne. And even then, that's not a guarantee. Oh, they're sticking in it for now. This is just the first round of the playoffs, so the loser of this game, well, it is a best of 3, and this is the first game, so the loser of the game will get a 1-game disadvantage heading into the next game, and the loser of the series will be knocked to the lower bracket, where they're probably going to play they will play the loser between Team Onyx and Complexity, and the loser of that will be knocked out of the qualifier. It looks like Team Freedom gonna go, alright, we're gonna get another Aegis BSJ and try to end this game. The cheese will be passed off to Tomato. And BSJ pushing down the mid lane. They're probably gonna go mid and then go bottom and try to finally close out this game. NP giving them a big fight for it, but I don't see NP defending at this point with a Aegis onto BSJ as well as buyback to travel in. And they're probably saying at this point, alright, Mike, please get your RP. XD. IX Mike, please. Alright, get the D ward. Maybe this is going to give them what they need to finally end this game. I wouldn't be surprised if they just walk straight up here and the game just ends. But NP gonna give the best fight that they have. NP acting as the frontline tank once again. The Manta style will save him from BSJ for now. He's able to heal up a lot with his Octarine core, but look at the damage that Tomato's able to dish out. And finally, the RP will hit from IX Mike. He won't get his second RP off, however, because Aoi hits the Abyssal Blade. But they're actually all alive for now, but BSJ is just focusing on the racks. He still has the Aegis, remember that. And MSS actually able to save his team there with his ultimate from the RP. Big play, but it doesn't look like it will matter. Tomato is killing everybody. GG is going to be called, and Team Freedom will take game 1 against NP with a 1-game advantage. NP was a favorite to qualify for the whole thing, but now they're 1 game away from getting knocked down to the losers bracket. And once they're there, they're at the edge of getting knocked out of the whole tournament. This is a very big deal for Freedom right now with this 1-game advantage against NP. And I think a lot of it had to be with the IO strategy. NP still not familiar with it, and I watched their game against... who was it? Was it Team Freedom? Yeah, it was against Team Freedom, I believe. Where they ran IO, and I mean, they won with it, but I think Team Freedom analyze the situation. They lost against it before, and they're like, alright, we just need to do this, this, and this, and this, and this turned out to be BSJ jug mid, so he couldn't be bullied out of lane. They sent Tomato mid, or Tomato to the safe lane, and that kind of threw things for a loop for NP, where they're like, huh, we can try to harass out the silencer, but he's already had a pretty good start with the Ogre, and if we do so and aren't successful, it's not going to work out for us. So NP kind of just played greedy and allowed Tomato and BSJ pretty much to free farm. They still took over a very big early game advantage, but just a couple of missteps here and there, because they didn't dominate the early game as hard as they did in the previous series, meant that Team Freedom were able to clutch it out and secure a victory off of a couple very good rotations and team fights from them. And so, Team Freedom start this series with a 1-game advantage. See you guys in the next video, and we'll see what happens from there. And peace out.